Chapter 61 Necessary Props for Patrolling the Forbidden Forest at Night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everybody here? Filch asked from the doorway, lantern in hand, but Mrs. Norris was nowhere to be seen. All present and accounted for, Aaron said, nodding toward the small group. 2 Slytherins and 3 Gryffindors. Any other stragglers, that's on them. Let's get a move on then. Filch barked, leading them out of the entrance hall. Shame we can't use the old methods of punishment anymore. Back in the day, a little time in the dungeons with your thumbs tied and strung up. I miss those screams. Bit twisted, don't you think? Aaron asked, a hint of challenge in his voice. That kind of thing's for teachers, isn't it? Pretty sure everyone here's still a minor. What do you know? Hogwarts was a lot more stable back then. Filch sneered. Didn't have so many of you running around causing trouble after hours. I've still got those chains in my office, you know. Oil them regularly. Might get some use out of them someday. The 3 Gryffindors exchanged horrified glances, silently vowing to never mess up again, or at least, never get caught by Filch. This punishment was bad enough, but the thought of Filch dusting off his old torture devices made their skin crawl. Draco looked a little pale, but wasn't particularly worried. He had a powerful father, and even decades ago, the school wouldn't dare lay a hand on him. Aaron just shrugged, unfazed. He was a stickler for the rules. Even when he bent them, Filch never managed to catch him. This time was just a fluke, cornered with a professor. Anyone would have broken the rules in that case. You know, Filch, Hogwarts just might not be the right place for you. Azkaban's practically begging for someone with your, talents. Filch paused, a strange look on his face. Thought about transferring there, be a guard or something. But they don't need me. Treat the prisoners way too rough, even for me. Aaron's lip twitched. He'd only been joking, but this guy actually considered it. They left the castle, crossed a dark field, and approached the edge of the Forbidden Forest. The lit windows of Hagrid's cabin were particularly bright in the darkness. What are we doing here? Draco whined. Isn't this supposed to be detention? That's right. Detention, Filch said, a glint in his eye. Didn't Professor McGonagall explain? The forest is your detention hall. You're assigned to it for the night. You'll be assisting Hagrid tonight, he's got a little errand to run. Okay, Harry thought to himself with relief. With Hagrid around, this might not be so bad. The Forbidden Forest. Draco's voice was high-pitched, almost a squeak. Aaron, tell me this is a joke. We can't go in there, especially not at night. Scared, Malfoy? Ron taunted. Never thought I'd see the day. Aren't you scared? Aaron asked pointedly, then gave Ron a thumbs up. Way to be brave, Weasley. Hope you don't pee your pants out there. What's that supposed to mean? Weasley, you idiot. Dumbledore's made it crystal clear that students are not to enter this forest. Do you think this is a joke? I'm telling you, that place is dangerous. There are even werewolves in there. As if on cue, a howl echoed from the Forbidden Forest, likely triggered by the full moon momentarily visible through the clouds. Ron visibly shivered, clutching at his sleeves, speechless. Werewolves are just the start, Filch said, twisting the knife. Just so you know. Hagrid emerged from his cabin, carrying a lantern similar to Filch's, with his boarhound Fong lumbering behind him. His face was streaked with tears, like he'd been crying. Bunch of troublemakers, Hagrid, Filch said sourly. Hagrid didn't reply, just took a deep, shuddering breath, as if he were wrestling with some great sadness. He walked over to the woodshed, threw a bag of arrows over his shoulder, and double-checked his crossbow. Oh, for crying out loud. Still moping about that dragon? Hagrid looked up at Filch. Norbert's gone. Dumbledore arranged for him to go to Romania, to live with his own kind. Isn't that great? Aaron said. He'll be with other dragons. You don't have to worry about feeding him or whether he'll accidentally demolish your house. Easy for you to say, Hagrid said, glancing at Abe, who was sitting on Aaron's feet. Would you let Abe go live with a bunch of other dogs? Not a chance. I raised him myself. Exactly. Norbert's still a baby. What if the other dragons bully him? What if he doesn't like living with a group? Well. Aaron frowned. Maybe he'll like it. Maybe the others will protect him. Hagrid nodded, but his gloomy expression didn't lift. All right, enough's enough. Gotta buck up and stop feeling sorry for yourself. You've got to go into the Forbidden Forest soon. Filch said, then turned to the students. Good night, kids. Hope you make it back in one piece. Otherwise, I'll have to go in there and collect the bodies. With that, Filch started to head back toward the castle. Hold up. Aaron called out. What's the problem? If you're asking me to call off the punishment, forget it. Professor McGonagall said it, and I can't change her mind. No, Mr. Filch, you misunderstand. The Forbidden Forest doesn't scare me. I actually wanted to go exploring during Christmas vacation, but Professor McGonagall said no. Then why'd you stop me? Filch asked, confused. Don't tell me you want me to go with you. That's a laugh. No, Aaron said, shaking his head, pointing at Filch's lantern. I just want that. It's the middle of the night, and we're going into a dark forest. One lantern isn't enough for 6 people. Oh. Filch said, understanding dawning. But what's that got to do with me? You got yourselves into this mess, didn't you? Should have thought about that before you broke the rules. Yeah, you're right. Gotta think about the consequences. But we're being punished now, right? All I need is a little extra light. You wouldn't deny us that, would you? Wouldn't I just, Filch sneered. I don't have a speck of sympathy for rule breakers. Don't expect me to help you, not even a little bit. Forget it, Aaron, it's not worth it, Draco said, annoyed. No way. The forest gets way more dangerous at night. If you can't see, you could end up in some nasty creature's lair. The creatures in the Forbidden Forest respect me, Hagrid said, puffing out his chest. He had a good relationship with the animals there and was confident in saying that. Animals might respect you, but what about the plants? You should know that animals aren't the only dangers in the forest. Hagrid paused, considering all the bumps, bruises, and scrapes he'd suffered from tripping in the Forbidden Forest. He seemed to have agreed that another lantern would be necessary. Filch, look. Hagrid, don't even try to persuade me. I won't. I'll buy it, Aaron said bluntly. This is school property. I'm not allowed to sell it to you. Then how about we rent it? Nope. Not happening. Aaron held up a finger. 1 galleon for the night. I'll admit it, that's a fair price, but I don't need the money. 5 galleons. Well. Filch hesitated. He didn't really have anything to spend money on, and he'd saved a fair bit over his years at Hogwarts, enough for his retirement. But more money never hurt, but when he saw the 5 students who had made mistakes in front of him, he gritted his teeth and said, this is about more than money. 10 galleons. Last offer. If you don't take it, I'll just use a Lumos spell. I know how to do that. Wait, deal, Filch said quickly, shoving the lantern into Aaron's hands before he could change his mind. Hold on, Aaron said, picking up Abe and reaching into the hidden pocket of its clothes, from which he took out a handful of gold galleons. No more, no less, exactly 10. The transaction complete, Filch clutched the coins to his chest and hurried back toward the castle, while Aaron held the newly acquired lantern high. Chapter 62 There is an unknown enemy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Forbidden Forest was a maze of towering trees and dense undergrowth. A thin mist clung to the ground, making it even creepier, and the occasional distant howl of a wolf sent shivers down their spines. Hagrid led them down a narrow path, deeper into the woods. Aaron was thankful he'd rented a lamp, otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to see a thing. After what felt like hours, Hagrid stopped, frowning at a puddle of shimmering silver liquid on the ground. "What is that?" Harry asked. "I've seen unicorn blood before." Aaron knelt and swirled a bit of the liquid with his finger. "This is fresh. I'd say the unicorn is badly hurt." "He's right. A unicorn died a few weeks ago. It was a brutal death. Almost all its blood was drained. This is the second one. We have to find it and protect it." "Easier said than done." Aaron paused, then added, "This forest is dangerous right now. I'm betting it's not just the animals and plants we have to worry about. I'd suggest we reschedule this punishment, preferably for daylight." "Yeah. Daylight would be way easier." "No need for a lantern," Hagrid agreed, "but the unicorn doesn't have that kind of time. One night could be the difference between life and death. I still think 5 wizards are worth more than a unicorn." Draco's face paled, and he swallowed hard. "What do you mean? Don't freak me out. Calm down. We're safe for now." Aaron patted his shoulder. "Unicorns are special. Usually, this forest wouldn't hurt them. Some creatures might even protect them. But if Hagrid's right and one's already dead and another's in bad shape, something's seriously wrong. That's why we're here," Hagrid stated, like it was obvious. "The unicorn needs our help. Show some compassion." Aaron's lips twitched. "Nobody's more compassionate than me. But this is different. There's something nasty in the Forbidden Forest, and it's powerful. Who knows if it will come after us?" "How do you know?" Harry asked. "That's just speculation. Besides, we're with Hagrid. He'll keep us safe." Aaron pointed to the silver blood on the ground. "Unicorn blood can prolong life. Before now, unicorns were never attacked or killed in the Forbidden Forest. When things go south, it means something is out of control, and the unknown is the scariest thing." A nervous silence fell over the group. They couldn't deny they were scared. It wasn't hard to guess who might be hunting unicorns for their blood. And anyone bold enough to do that in the Forbidden Forest was likely someone they couldn't handle. "Hagrid," Ron pleaded. "Can we just get out of here? It's just us. Nobody has to know." "No way. A detention is a detention. Professor McGonagall already chewed me out about Noble, and Dumbledore caught me off guard and panicked. I'd be in trouble, so I can't play favorites." Ron hung his head, and the others looked grim, realizing they were stuck. "Don't worry so much. Maybe a werewolf got to the unicorn." "Werewolf? Great. Tonight's a full moon, too. They'll be even more dangerous." Draco took a step back, a chill running down his spine. He'd thought detention meant writing lines in a dark room, not venturing into a dangerous forest. The dark room turned into a forbidden forest, and writing an examination turned into finding a seriously injured and dying unicorn, and possibly being attacked in the process. It was unacceptable, and one instinctively wanted to resist. "Okay. I know this is risky, and I don't want anyone getting hurt. But this is your punishment. You can't just walk away from it." "Yeah, but the danger this time is a total mystery." Hagrid blinked, staring at Aaron intently. "If we knew everything, what would be the point? The Forbidden Forest is dangerous. Didn't Filch say he'd be collecting your bodies? You think he was joking? Besides, even if there's some creature out there, I guarantee it's no worse than the usual dark creatures in here." "All right." Aaron threw up his hands. "You're right. We asked for this." Hermione looked stricken, biting her lip. If she hadn't snatched Abe, Draco wouldn't have ratted them out, Aaron wouldn't have broken the rules, and they wouldn't be in this mess. In the end, she was largely responsible for their predicament. That's the spirit. Now, we split into two groups and follow the blood trail. Wait, we're splitting up. Draco exclaimed. Don't tell me Gryffindors in one group and Slytherins in the other. That's not fair. There are twice as many of you, and we'll be sitting ducks. I didn't say that. As long as you're with me or Yaya, the creatures in the Forbidden Forest won't mess with you. And I'm being fair. You, Ron, and Harry are together. Hermione, Aaron, and Fong are a team. Hagrid winked at Hermione, giving her a subtle thumbs up. The chance is yours, it's up to you whether you can seize it or not. Hermione gave him a grateful look and nodded firmly. I didn't make it yesterday, but I have enough time today. Anyway, I have to apologize first. I don't agree. Aaron objected. This grouping is all kinds of awkward. I think we should switch it up. What happened last night still bugs me, and I can't just brush it off. If Hermione and I are on the same team, it could cause friction. That's no good. Hagrid hesitated, glancing at Hermione, whose eyes were glistening. He took a deep breath and said, Nope. Objection denied. I'm in charge of this detention. You have to listen to me. Ha! Hagrid, you're making me think you've got an agenda here. I thought you were fair. Guess I was wrong. Hagrid floundered, torn between his sense of fairness and his desire to help. He did have a reason for putting Hermione and Aaron together, he wanted them to patch things up. After all, he is only a 12-year-old child, so there is something he cannot say clearly. As long as Hermione sincerely apologizes, the relationship will slowly recover over time, and Aaron doesn't seem to be such a vindictive person. I've made up my mind about you and Hermione. If you think it's unfair, I can add someone else to your group. That's the best I can do. Aaron didn't argue. Hagrid had gone this far, he had to give him a little leeway. Ron's out of the question. Aaron eyed him with distaste, then turned to Harry. Too much drama. I've got a feeling teaming up with you would be a pain. Guess that leaves me, Draco said with a smirk. Looks like Slytherin's the only one you can trust. Not so fast. There's another option. Aaron turned to Hagrid. Why don't you switch with Fong? Me? Hagrid blinked, then waved his hand. No way. Absolutely not. The three of them would be in way more danger without me. Malfoy. He's the best fit for your team. Fine. He's better than the other two. Draco's eyes narrowed. He had a feeling he wasn't exactly the first choice. Okay, we're splitting up. If you find the unicorn, shoot green sparks. If you're in trouble, shoot red ones. We'll come running. Be careful. Hagrid led Harry and Ron down the path on the left, leaving the path on the right for Aaron, Hermione, and Draco. All right. Aaron took a deep breath, perched Abe on his head, and looked at Hermione and Draco. Listen to my orders tonight. Any objections? No. I'll do whatever you say. Draco puffed out his chest. Aaron was better than him at pretty much everything. I'll listen too, Hermione stammered. Really? Draco eyed her skeptically. You won't just run off and leave us the second things get dicey? I won't. Promise. Yeah, who knows, that's enough, that's why I don't want to be grouped, it's too much trouble. Can we all try to keep a low profile out here? Hermione and Draco exchanged a glance and fell silent. That's better. Check your shoes, tie them if they've got laces. Aaron bent down to tie his shoelaces, Hermione followed suit without a word. Draco looked confused. Tie our shoes? Why? For running away. Don't think you're safe just because Hagrid's mutt Yaya's here. Chapter 63 It's impossible to run quietly. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron, holding a lantern, led Draco and Hermione deeper into the woods. Yaya and Abe shadowed the trio on either side, keeping their distance from each other. "I hope we don't run into that unicorn," Aaron said, his face grim as he pointed to splatters of silver blood on the path. "Otherwise, we're in deep trouble. But knowing my luck. Looks like it was badly hurt, and it's still moving fast even injured," Draco observed. "It couldn't really be a werewolf, could it?" "Nah, Hagrid just filled your head with nonsense. Werewolves probably aren't even as fast as unicorns. I've kept an eye on these woods, and I've never heard of unicorns being hurt, let alone killed. So, brace yourselves. That unicorn might be in serious danger. If we're lucky enough to stumble across whatever hurt it, well, time to see how fast we really are." Hermione and Draco glanced down at their shoes, making sure they were laced tight for running. "Aaron, I." Hermione looked at Draco, took a deep breath, and after a few awkward seconds said, "I owe you an apology. I'm really sorry about what happened last night. I shouldn't have done that." Aaron just nodded and kept walking, lantern in hand. "Say something." Hermione pleaded, clearly upset. She'd rather be yelled at than treated like a stranger. He was being so cold, so distant. "What do you want me to say?" "You knew you shouldn't have done it, but you did it anyway. Do you have any idea how much effort I put into keeping Abe's identity a secret? I carry him around every day, wrapped up tight. Not even the professors or Dumbledore suspected a thing. And you blew it in one night." "I'm sorry," Hermione mumbled, hanging her head, her voice thick with emotion, and her eyes starting to water. Aaron sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Okay, I forgive you, all right." "Really?" Hermione perked up, relief flooding her face. Tears finally welled up in her eyes. The dread of losing 50 points from her house was suddenly gone. "Aaron, you're just letting her off the hook like that?" Draco asked, surprised. "Isn't that a little soft? To forgive a wrong without blaming or punishing is forgiveness, but forgiveness doesn't mean I've forgotten it, got it?" "I think so," Draco said, nodding. "Granger, you understand?" "Of course, I do," Hermione said, a small smile returning to her face. She knew the truth. Forgiveness was one thing, forgetting was another. But this was better than she expected. "At least it's a start at fixing our friendship," they continued through the dark forest. Yaya, catching a scent, moved to the front of the group. The increasing amount of blood on the ground ratcheted up their anxiety. "Growl!" Abe suddenly let out a low growl, and the little dragon tensed up, its eyes darting around. "What's wrong with him?" Draco asked. Aaron scooped up Abe, held the lantern lower, and warned, "Careful, hunker down. Something evil is nearby." Gulp. Hermione swallowed hard. "You mean, it's right around us?" "You sure?" "Yeah, Abe's super sensitive to dark stuff." At the same time, Yaya stopped, growling and staring intently ahead. Thick vines tangled across the ground, and a large, silver-white bloodstain stood out in the moonlight. There were drag marks leading away from it. It wasn't hard to figure out that the unicorn had put up a fight but had clearly lost. The ground sloped down to a small clearing ahead, and strange sounds drifted from it, like something being sucked or slurped, making their skin crawl. "It's right there. Should we check it out?" Hermione asked, hesitating. "Are you nuts?" Draco whispered, clearly spooked. "We should detour around this, or just turn around and pretend we saw nothing." "Send up the signal," Aaron said firmly. "Here. Aaron, calm down. Seriously, stay calm. We're here for detention, not a suicide mission. Don't do anything impulsive. But there's a unicorn in there. We have to see if it needs help. If it dies, fine, we turn around and run away, but what if it's still alive? If we just sneak off, it's going to die in despair." Aaron pulled out his wand, a green light glinting on its surface. But this is crazy dangerous. Way beyond normal. I never thought we'd see something like this at Hogwarts. I know. You two get as far away as you can, and I'll stay here to send the signal. If I'm too far away it won't scare whoever it is. They could be gone with the unicorn any minute. If you see the signal flare, run like hell. We can't just leave you here, Hermione insisted. Good to know you care, but you'll just slow me down. Besides, and this is going to sting, but I'm probably faster than both of you. Draco and Hermione exchanged a look, nodded, and started backing away, trying to be as quiet as possible, but after a few steps, Yaya sneezed, letting out a low, thunderous bark. They froze. Aaron stared at the Neapolitan Mastiff, incredulous. Whether it was on purpose or not didn't matter anymore. They couldn't sneak away now. That bark had definitely gotten the attention of whatever was in the clearing. The disgusting sucking sound stopped abruptly, replaced by a rustling, sliding noise. A hooded figure in black slowly crawled out of the clearing, moving toward them like a ghost. Run! Aaron yelled, shooting a green flare into the sky, followed by a red spark. Two sparks appeared over the forbidden forest almost simultaneously, the signal that the unicorn and its attacker had been found. But. No buts. Aaron cut her off. Running is the only smart move right now. Even before he finished speaking, Yaya was already barreling away on her short legs, moving faster than anyone thought possible. Draco screamed and took off after her. Aaron didn't waste any time. He was burning rubber. All that exercise wasn't for nothing, but after only a few steps, he stopped, turning back to look at Hermione who was standing frozen in place. Run, Hermione. What are you waiting for? My legs, they're like jelly, Hermione stammered, close to tears. She wanted to get out of this creepy place, but after the black-robed figure emerged, its face smeared with silver blood, her body simply refused to move. Her legs felt like lead. She'd faced ghosts before, but the terror this figure inspired was in a whole different league. Aaron. You've got to be kidding me. Now's the time for your legs to give out. I can't help it. Hermione choked out. Just go, leave me. Don't cry. I can't just leave you, especially with 2 nights in a row this unlucky. You're stuck with me. Aaron took a few steps forward, facing the black-robed figure. He felt like he knew what was going on. At this point in Hogwarts, there was only one person who needed unicorn blood to stay alive. The Dark Lord must really be on his last legs. Still, even in that state, he wasn't sure he could beat him, so he'd have to improvise. So that's why you're looking for a way to live, Aaron muttered under his breath. It made him want power more than ever. Expelliarmus! A flash of red light shot towards the hooded figure, but it had little effect. The figure only stumbled back a step and kept coming forward. Knew it, Aaron said grimly. His right hand, gripping his wand, trembled. Expelliarmus! The figure ignored the spell, not even bothering to dodge it. But just as the red light was about to hit, the figure seemed to sense a threat. It twisted its body in an unnatural way, barely avoiding the curse. Boom. The spell struck a birch tree, cracking the wood from the center to the edges, making it look like a stiff wind would take it down. You can't have it. A hoarse voice rasped from the black robe. Too bad it missed. Even if it hit, you're too weak. The spell you used won't have any effect on me. You pose no threat. I know, Aaron said. Someone hunting unicorns isn't going to be stopped by an Expelliarmus charm. I just wanted to buy some time for us to escape. Looks like that didn't work, but whatever. Chapter 64 Escape is also a technical job. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Actually, we can talk, Aaron said, trying to sound cool. I already sent the signal, Hagrid should be here any minute, so. So, you want me to just let you walk? No, I mean, if you surrender, I can pull some strings with the Gaius family. I think the Ministry of Magic would listen to us. You wouldn't have to go to Azkaban, you could just retire to a regular prison. Interesting. The raspy voice came again. The man in the black robe seemed more intrigued, taking a few steps closer to Aaron. You don't seem to grasp your current situation. Actually, I'm pretty clear on it. Aaron acted nonchalant, making a subtle waving motion behind his back with his left hand. Abby, who usually acted like a ghost, saw it and immediately took off running. As soon as the man in black robe noticed the shift, Aaron drew his attention. Two first-year wizards facing a scary dark wizard usually only have one way this ends, but now there are some variables. Hagrid could show up anytime. I doubt you, in your half-dead state, want to tangle with a wizard with giant's blood. You're sharp. I wouldn't invite trouble in my condition. But I'm still confident I could squash a few ants before he arrives. The man in black robe smirked. Then let's see it. Aaron said, sounding braver than he felt. He knew he couldn't show any fear, the guy would pounce, he couldn't expect mercy from the Dark Lord even if he was feeling generous, it would be under normal circumstances. But this guy was drinking unicorn blood just to survive, totally twisted, compassion was out of the question. Got some nerve. The man in the black robe kept inching forward, then stopped, noticing the white wand in Aaron's left hand. It gave him pause. This kid's a prodigy. No one knew the value of talent better than him, he was a genius himself. He had seen wandless magic users and was even one of them. But this was the first time he'd seen anyone dual-wielding. Multitasking was a rare gift, and the potential was huge. His own condition was awful, barely clinging to life. It would be too much if he got taken out now. Ha ha ha. Guess I misjudged things sometimes. I figured you were just a good student, nothing special. Now I see, good, doesn't cut it. Should I thank you for the compliment? You can leave, but she stays. Hermione flinched, pulling out her wand and desperately trying to remember some offensive spells. Waiting to die was a choice only for the hopeless. Why? Aaron asked, confused. She's just a regular witch with muggle parents. She's useless, but you aren't. The man in black robe said meaningfully, his voice full of mystery. You have immense talent, a bright future, incredible value. I want to set you on the right path, but it requires a little persuasion. Aaron shot a look at Hermione, trying to understand. Leaving your friends behind and running solo was a pretty sure way to get hated on, leading down a dark path. When good people feel guilty, if they can't get over it, it can mess them up. Screw you. You're a creep. I might disappoint you, though. Even if I ran, I'd just hold a grudge, no guilt. The man in black robe ignored him. Survive alone, or stay and die with her? Aaron rubbed his chin, frowning. That's a deep question. I need a minute. Take your time. The man in the black robe started slowly walking toward Hermione. Stop. Aaron immediately pointed his wand. Back off, don't come any closer. Humph. You think you're stalling? Don't think I'll let you get away with it. The man in the black robe said, his voice angrier, make a choice before I kill her, or you won't escape. So, no negotiating? Aaron said coldly. Don't think I'm scared. No matter how strong you used to be, now you're just a rat living off unicorn blood, too chicken to show your face. I really don't take you seriously. That's it. Enraged, the man in the black robe turned and charged at Aaron. He'd wanted to groom Aaron, believing that the young wizard could someday be in charge and become his right-hand man. But now he'd changed his mind. No one had ever insulted him like that, ever. You have to break the arrogant ones. Being too cocky is no good. Now. Aaron yelled, on cue. Abe circled behind the man in the black robe, switched to battle mode, and slammed the guy in the back of the head with his claws. Aya! A piercing scream echoed through the forbidden forest. Abe, get out of there. Rip him apart. Tear him to pieces, Seizing the moment, Aaron raised both hands and started firing spells while the guy was reeling, but the man in the black robe was fast. He dodged 5 of the 6 spells. The last one knocked him into a tree. As the man in black robe had said, his spells barely did anything. Run! Run! Aaron didn't hesitate, grabbing Hermione's hand and dragging her in the direction they'd come from. He regretted giving that magic carpet to Professor McGonagall. He should be keeping that kind of escape tool with him, but then he shook the idea off. The man in the black robe was flying, no need to watch the path or worry about trees. He was faster. Flying is cheating. Aaron yelled. Gotta learn that magic sometime. Seeing the man in the black robe closing in, Aaron got worried. I should have landed more hits. Whoosh, the sound of wind made Aaron's back cold. He pulled Hermione down, a black shadow passed overhead, and when they stood again, the man in the black robe was in front of them. Ha ha ha. Aaron laughed nervously. It was just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, it hurts. The man in the black robe sneered. I'll tear you to pieces. No, shattering you into pieces is more fitting. You're holding a grudge, huh? A dark wizard like you was someone in the past. You can't be like me, just a 12-year-old. Words won't save you. Since you are unwilling to give up this girl's life, then you both die together. I won't die so easily. Aaron said, sounding confident. Ever since he knew he'd be facing the Dark Lord, he had shamelessly begged for a life-saving magical object from home, but it was valuable, and using it now would be a waste. Really? I'm really curious about how you keep this Gryffindor alive. Aaron frowned. He had no chance of surviving alone, and now he still had a burden. Hermione Granger. Yeah. I'll buy you some time. Run as fast as you can and don't look back. Can you do that? No, I can't leave you to face him alone. Aaron, are you serious? Do you really want me to call you a liability, ? Fine, take my pet and get out of here. Aaron said, winking at Abe, be ready to run anytime. Hermione nodded and reached for Abe, but Long, who had been dealt a blow, dodged her hand, raised his head proudly, and sat under a tree. Hermione pulled back her hand angrily, looked at Aaron worriedly, and stood aside. I'm curious. How will you hold me back? The man in the black robe said coldly, even a little impatient. I'm challenging you to a duel, wizard style. I wager the reputation of the Gaius family, and I give you my life if I lose. But if I win by chance, you let us go. Aaron said heroically, ready to take off the ring on his left hand that contained half the magic. This was his ace in the hole. He didn't want to reveal it so early, but it couldn't be helped. Regardless of whether the Dark Lord agreed, he would surprise him. It was his last chance. Chapter 65. The Blessing Elixir is really so effective. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The man in the black robe paused, the icy killing intent around him lessening. A wizard's duel, huh? Okay, I'm in. As soon as he agreed, a tremor ran through the man. A voice pleaded in his head, Master, we shouldn't waste time on these two, just kill them now, that unicorn. Shut it. I don't need you telling me what to do, the man snapped. The voice went silent. What's wrong? Aaron mused, a confused look on his face. Nothing. Ready when you are. Hold on. Aaron took a deep breath and pulled a small, clear bottle from his pocket. Elixir of good fortune. Gives you a boost of luck for 12 hours, he'd been saving it, but this felt like the right time. Using it meant a better shot at getting away, but not using it might mean never getting another shot at all. Aaron took a swig and carefully put the bottle away. What's that? Spent a fortune getting someone to brew a magic replenishing potion, only works on wizards below senior level, though, Aaron said, deadpan. Then, faking generosity, he held out the bottle again. Need some? Don't be shy. A fair duel is a fair duel. Sure, you outclass me in age, magic, knowledge, everything, but I don't mind evening the odds a little." The man in the black robe stared, speechless for a few seconds. He suspected it wasn't really a magic potion at all, but Aaron's offer made it awkward to ask. The Dark Lord had his pride. The kid was betting his family honor, so he couldn't come off as cheap, or worse, accuse him of cheating. Besides, the Gaius family's wealth was always a mystery, and Aaron was just a 12-year-old. What could he possibly have? Even if he did have something, he might not want it, unless it could replenish his vitality and meet his immediate need. It wouldn't be worth the shame, but when Aaron drank it, he couldn't sense any life energy at all. He was sure it didn't do him any good. "No, I don't need it." "Really? Don't need it?" Aaron sighed inwardly, but his face grew more serious. "Okay, my apologies for the offer, then. Enough stalling. Let's get this over with." The man's tone evened out. "Got business to attend to after I'm done with you." "All right," Aaron said, dragging his wand along the ground in a show of respect, but as soon as he did, he glared at the man in black. "Hey! You're insulting me. Where's your wand? You think I can use a wand in this state?" The man scoffed. "Don't underestimate me. I can still cast without one." He was possessing someone else. Using a wand would blow his cover unless he killed these two and that creature tonight. The consequences would be dire and could ruin everything, but Aaron gave him a sense of light he had long forgotten. It'd be a shame to kill him. He still wanted to win him over, and the first step to winning over this little wizard was to beat him with brute force. Geniuses are arrogant, but they can be impressed by other geniuses. The Dark Lord was confident in his charisma. Even in his weakened state, he knew it was only a matter of time before he made a comeback, but he couldn't trust all his old followers. He needed fresh blood. "Whatever, let's go." Aaron lowered his wand and slowly backed away. Formal duels started with both duelists going to either end of the field, and they were now in a small clearing, which could barely be used as a ring. The man in black robes attached great importance to this kind of duel etiquette, which Aaron did not expect, but this gave him more opportunities. As Aaron retreated, he casually slipped off the ring on his left hand. The second-to-last step was the perfect moment to strike. The opponent would be on guard, but still caught off guard. Aaron was sure the arrogant Dark Lord would never expect him to pull a stunt like this. His acting had been Oscar-worthy. Sure, it was a dirty trick, but he was playing for keeps. One of the Gaius family's ancestral mottos was, "Nothing is more important than staying alive." Sometimes, you have to do whatever it takes. He didn't know which ancestor had said it, and it wasn't exactly honorable, but he liked the bluntness, especially now. It just rang true. You can always fight another day, but dead is dead. The other guy could pick on the small, but he couldn't get away with this. 7 steps, 6 steps, 5 steps to the edge of the clearing. Aaron's heart pounded. The ring was off, the magic energy was surging, but he couldn't let his guard down. Finally, the second-to-last step. Aaron whipped up his wand, ready to blast the man in black to kingdom come. If he missed, he'd turn and run. With the distance he had, he could get a few steps ahead, but if he hit, he'd hit again, then run. He'd chug that elixir of fortune for a reason. "Aaron? Hermione? You guys there?" Hagrid's voice cut through the night. His huge frame crashed through the undergrowth. Behind him, Harry, Ron, and Draco stumbled along, exhausted. At the same moment, Aaron unleashed a body-shattering curse, slamming into the man in black, but hearing Hagrid's voice, he reeled in his strength at the last second. "Aag!" A piercing scream ripped through the air. The man in black felt excruciating pain, but didn't dare to pause. He spun and fled, vanishing into the darkness. Aaron stared, stunned. The elixir of fortune was working overtime. If he'd known, he would have taken a swig before even entering the forbidden forest. He might not have even met the man in black at all. "Where is he?" Hagrid huffed, crossbow at the ready. "You gotta ask." "He ran." "You all right? What do you think?" "If I hadn't been quick thinking and stalled him, we'd both be dead." "Well, maybe not me, but Hermione definitely wouldn't have made it." Aaron snapped. Hagrid winced. He'd suggested splitting up. He never expected it to be this dangerous. When he saw those two bursts of flame in the sky above the Forbidden Forest, he raced towards this direction, and ran into Malfoy, who was running like crazy on the way. After learning that there was a weirdo in black here sucking the blood of unicorns, his speed increased a lot, but this was the Forbidden Forest after all, and after falling twice, he had to limit the speed. Sorry, Hagrid mumbled, shamefaced. Shouldn't have split up. Least you wouldn't have been in danger. No, Hagrid, it's not your fault, Hermione soothed. No one knew there was a monster like that in the forest. I warned him. I said things had been off in the Forbidden Forest lately. We shouldn't have come tonight. But Hagrid didn't listen. Sorry, the giant mumbled again. All my fault. Humph. You're the one to blame. If you hadn't been so headstrong, we wouldn't be in this mess. Hagrid, you're lucky no one got hurt. Otherwise, you'd be spending the rest of your life in Azkaban. Even Dumbledore couldn't save you. Aaron, that's enough. Hagrid gets it, Hermione said gently. Hey. Hermione, don't forget who saved you, and we cheated death, can't I complain? If Yaya hadn't sneezed, we might have come out unscathed if you hadn't suddenly. Aaron stopped, afraid he was about to make her cry again. Point is, tonight was a mess, and it could have been avoided. The others exchanged uneasy glances. By the way, where's the unicorn? Hagrid asked. Malfoy said you found it. We did, but... Hermione bit her lip. Hagrid, brace yourself. I don't think the poor thing's alive. Chapter 66. Can you save the unicorn? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Several people followed Aaron back to the clearing where a unicorn, as white as snow, lay alone. A gruesome wound marred its neck, and silvery blood flowed freely. Is it dead? Harry asked, a little uneasy. I didn't get a good look before, but now I almost wish I hadn't. It's the first creature I've seen that rivals Abe in beauty, but it's already gone, Aaron said, approaching the unicorn to close its eyes. But when his hand touched its face, he felt dampness. Looking closer, he saw crystal tears on the holy creature's face, a testament to the pain it had endured. Aaron sighed and closed its eyes, unexpectedly feeling a faint breath from its nostrils. Wait, it's still alive. What? Hagrid exclaimed, excited. He hurried to the unicorn to check its condition. His joy quickly faded, replaced by an even deeper gloom. The good news was the unicorn still clung to life, but the bad news was it was on its last breath. Nothing pained Hagrid more than witnessing the death of a sacred magical creature and being powerless to help. It's hopeless. The poor thing probably won't last half a minute, Hagrid said sadly, his eyes reddening. First I lose Norbert, and now this unicorn. Why is this happening to me all in one day? Hagrid, calm down. Norbert was yours, but this unicorn. Hermione trailed off, seeing Hagrid's red-rimmed eyes. Any more and she thought he might burst into tears. Bury it. Let it rest in peace, Ron suggested. What a dumb idea, Draco scoffed. Unicorns are full of valuable stuff, for wizards and other creatures alike. Bury it here tonight and other magical animals will be feasting on its carcass by tomorrow. The Forbidden Forest is teeming with dark creatures that are always hungry. A werewolf wouldn't pass up this opportunity for a meal. So what do you suggest we do? Cremate it, of course. Is that even a question? No, Hagrid interrupted. That's too rough. It's not fitting for a holy unicorn. You're asking a lot, Aaron said, incredulous. I can just bury it somewhere else. Why overthink it? If you're okay with it, I can even find a scenic spot for its tomb. Just give me a tip later, no need to feel bad. Hagrid hesitated. That's not necessary. I have a better idea. I can arrange for some trusted friends to return the unicorn's body to its herd. Its parents and elders can handle the funeral. It has a herd? Aaron asked, surprised. Sure, there are more than a few unicorns in the Forbidden Forest, but they're rare and hard to find. Wait, Yaya. Hagrid called his dog. Go get Ronan. You can find him, right? Woof. Yaya barked, then dashed off into the clearing. Hagrid, who's Ronan? Harry asked curiously. Is someone else living in the Forbidden Forest? You'll see. Just as Hagrid was being mysterious, Fawn's scream echoed again. The Neapolitan Mastiff returned less than 5 seconds after leaving. If it weren't for the towering figure following behind, they might have thought it was a joke. Who's there? Hagrid grabbed his crossbow and pointed it at the imposing figure in the bushes. Come out, I'm armed. Good evening, Hagrid, the figure said, stepping into the clearing. Moonlight and the lights revealed his appearance. His upper body was human, but his lower body was that of a horse, with a long tail trailing behind. Ronan, I was just coming to find you. Perfect timing. I just arrived, Ronan said, glancing at the crossbow. Were you planning to shoot me? Misunderstanding, total misunderstanding, Hagrid said sheepishly, putting away the crossbow. I didn't realize it was you, and the Forbidden Forest hasn't been safe lately. Indeed, Ronan said, gazing at the stars. The stars are bright tonight. I've heard that a million times. You centaurs always say that, Hagrid said. The sparks are bright tonight. Ronan, we can't understand what the stars are saying, Hagrid said, annoyed. Can you tell me why you're here? For the unicorn. Ronan glanced at the lifeless unicorn on the ground. A flicker of sadness crossed his eyes. But it seems I'm too late. Hagrid sighed. Never mind that for now. I need you to deliver the unicorn's body to its herd. You centaurs are the only ones who can find them in the Forbidden Forest. I will help. The fallen leaves will return to their roots, Ronan said, then looked at Harry Potter, specifically at the scar on Harry's forehead. Are you the Potter boy? You know me? Harry asked, flattered. He knew he was famous in the wizarding world, but he didn't expect magical creatures to have heard of him. Ronan looked at the stars again. The stars tell me you will face danger, not now, but in the future. Prophecy. What does that mean? Can you be more specific? Ronan looked at Harry with his dark blue eyes, hesitating before speaking. I can't defy fate, but I can offer you some well-known wisdom. Unicorn blood can prolong life, even when you're on the brink of death. However, killing a unicorn is a grave crime because the price is steep. To slaughter something so pure just to survive, that's when its blood touches your lips, you're half dead and cursed for life. Interesting, Aaron said, raising an eyebrow. We're lucky to be alive tonight. If you aren't afraid of being cursed, you're either already suffering a worse curse, you've got bigger fish to fry, or you are a desperate person on the edge of death. Harry's face turned serious, understanding Ronan's implication. Who would risk slaughtering unicorns at Hogwarts, or face a curse just to prolong their life? A normal person wouldn't choose to live as a zombie unless they had a chance to return to normal. Remembering the sorcerer's stone hidden in the school, which could grant immortality, everything suddenly clicked. You mean? Harry began, then stopped, realizing they were surrounded. He quickly changed his words. You mean that person is still alive and in school? You know the answer. You just don't want to believe it, do you? That's insane. He has lost his humanity, so be careful, Ronan warned. He then walked over to the unicorn's body, preparing to carry it on his back. Although the task was awkward for a centaur, he carefully lifted the unicorn, aware that it could slip. We'll leave it to you, Ronan. Let's go. Hagrid turned, looking uncomfortable, and everyone prepared to leave with him. After all, Hagrid offered the most security in the Forbidden Forest. Aaron lifted his left foot, but his right one was stuck. He looked back to see Abe biting his trouser leg, refusing to let go. What are you doing? Let go, we need to head back. Abe didn't budge, just stared with big, pleading eyes and pointed a paw at the dead unicorn. What are you up to? Aaron asked, a smile spreading across his face. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not related to it, so there's no need to save it. You can save it? Ronan asked, shocked. He noticed Abe biting Aaron's pants. His blue eyes widened in admiration. Such a holy aura. Ronan looked up, trying to see the star's prophecies for Aaron and his pet, but he found that the once clear prophecies had become blurry. The full moon peeked out from behind the clouds, its light overshadowing the stars. Such a situation was rare, caused either by a celestial phenomenon or by a power concealing his prediction. But one thing was clear. Yes, you have the ability to save this unicorn. Chapter 67 Kindness and the Virgin are two different things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone stared at Aaron, surprised. Hagrid was practically buzzing with excitement. You can really save the unicorn? Nope, Aaron said, shaking his head, his denial quick and firm. He did have a vial of resurrection potion that could bring back a life that had ended within the hour, but he only had the one, and chances were slim he'd ever get another. Using something so precious on a unicorn just wasn't worth it. Sure, magical creatures were rare, and unicorns were pure, but what did that have to do with him? So many living things died every day, he couldn't save them all. That was God's job. But Ronan said. Centaur predictions are never wrong, Hagrid said, sounding uncertain. Who knows if that's just a load of baloney? And where's the proof? Aaron countered, unconvinced. Even if it's not baloney, who's to say the centaurs can't misinterpret the stars? Well. Hagrid hesitated, looking at Ronan with a questioning expression. Can you guarantee it? Centaur prophecies are very accurate, but there have been times when we have indeed misinterpreted the signs in the stars. See? Aaron said, throwing his hands up. Misinterpretation. I can't resurrect unicorns. Not necessarily, Ron piped up, pointing at Abe, who was tugging on Aaron's pant leg. If that were true, Abe wouldn't be so worked up. Everyone's gaze shifted to Aaron's feet, where Abe was stubbornly clinging to his trousers. They couldn't help but feel Ronan's prediction was more likely. Abe's just hungry. I didn't let him eat tonight. If he keeps this up, though, I think I'll have to starve him for 3 days, Aaron explained, shooting Abe a silent threat. Sure enough, the moment he said that, Abe seemed to hear something terrible and quickly withdrew his claws. Aaron scooped him up without a second thought. Am I too soft on you? Abe nodded frantically, then, catching Aaron's hard stare, shook his head just as fast. I'll deal with you when we get back. 3 days of starvation might be necessary, with a cutback on food next time. Ouch, Abe whined, looking at the dead unicorn with reluctance. Before turning away, he'd given it his all, even risking a major cut in his food allowance, but it was no use if his owner didn't agree. Abe felt a real connection with this pure magical creature, more than he ever had with Norbert, who was also a dragon. Seeing the unicorn die like this made him sad, so he'd wanted to do his best to help. He knew about the resurrection potion. He'd almost drunk it once, because his dragon instincts told him that the rich life force inside would be a huge help. Of course, he'd failed and been punished by Aaron. A large portion of his food was deducted for 3 days, and going from gourmet meals to basic rations was like torture. Let's go. Time to head back. Wait, Aaron, Hagrid called out. If you really can save it, please. I told you. I can't. I get it, Hagrid said with a wink. If I had that kind of power, I wouldn't go blabbing about it. But we're all friends here, can't you trust us? Besides, it would be a tragedy for such a rare creature like a unicorn to just die. Aaron's lips twitched. This is too much. He could understand the first sentence, but the rest was just nonsense. Hagrid, Aaron said sympathetically, maybe you're just extra upset because Norbert's gone, and it's messing with your head. Go home and get some sleep, stop dwelling on this stuff. No. I'm not messed up. I'm perfectly clear. Hagrid insisted. Gimme a break. Aaron said, rolling his eyes, before meeting the gaze of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, finally settling on Hagrid. Besides you, for Gryffindors conned me last night. Don't tell me you've already forgotten. Even a giant's memory can't be that bad. Ask yourself, if you were me, would you trust those four? Hagrid opened his mouth, but no words came out. Harry and the others hung their heads in shame. Being called out like that, right to their faces, made them want to crawl into a hole. We could go wait somewhere else until you've revived the unicorn, Ron mumbled. Idiot. Draco sneered. Aaron, ignore them. Let's head back to the Slytherin common room. Okay, Aaron said, sounding tired. Right then, he couldn't wait to get out of there. The others subconsciously stepped aside, letting Aaron and Draco pass, and no one dared try to stop them. Hagrid watched them walk about 30 feet away, then, gritting his teeth, called out, "You really won't save it? This unicorn is still young, its parents are waiting for it to come home, *ugh, star." Aaron stopped, looked up, and took a deep breath. It usually only took him a second to go from speechless to angry. After setting Abe on the ground, he turned back to Hagrid and gave him a fierce glare. Are you out of your mind? Do you have to keep badgering me like this? I've said it again and again, I can't save it. Do you have to be so stubborn? But the centaur's signs and Abe's reaction both point to the fact that you can. Hagrid insisted. One might be a mistake, but both can't be. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Aaron said, gritting his teeth. I know how you feel about magical creatures, and I sympathize with this little guy. But you have to face reality. I know. Hagrid's face was streaked with tears, and his beard was soaked. He looked like a 200-pound kid who'd lost his best friend. Stop crying. You're a giant, can't you control your tear ducts? Aaron said, twitching. He'd seen more tears in the last 2 days than in his first 11 years combined. Hagrid grabbed a leaf and wiped his nose. I know I get carried away, but when I think about this young unicorn and its family, I can't help but feel sad. If you really can't do anything, then fine. But if you can, and I don't at least try, I'll feel like I gave up the chance to save it. That feeling sucks, you wouldn't understand. Snap. Snap. Snap, star. Bravo. Well said. Aaron clapped. I get why they had you guarding the Forbidden Forest. With your bleeding heart, you probably treat every magical creature like it's your own kid. I felt bad lying to you, even though I kept saying it, you didn't believe me. I'll cut the act. Truth is, I do have something that could save the unicorn, but I'm not planning to use it. Why not? Harry asked, confused. You're not the kind of person who would just stand by and watch someone die. Wow, you're really good at judging people. You probably won't find a wizard as nice as me anywhere in Hogwarts. But, Harry Potter, kindness and sainthood are two different things. What do you mean? Aaron sighed and pulled a bottle filled with emerald green liquid out of his pocket. He opened the bottle, and a faint life force filled the air. Some dead grass on the ground turned green so fast you could almost see it happening. Aaron quickly put the lid back on. If too much evaporated, the potion's effectiveness would be weakened. As the bottle was sealed, the nourished plants suddenly lost their nutrition and became sluggish again. You see, this stuff can bring a creature back to life, as long as they drink it. Then hurry. Hagrid urged. Why hurry? Aaron cleared his throat. This is a secret potion, handed down from generation to generation in the Gaius family. This is the last bottle I have. In other words, it's supposed to be used to save lives in a dire emergency. It's a priceless family heirloom. Now you want me to use it to revive a unicorn that I have zero connection with. Hagrid, do you really think that's appropriate? Is it reasonable? Hagrid fell silent. He was too ashamed to let someone use a family heirloom to revive an unrelated magical creature. Aaron scoffed, then looked at Harry Potter. If someone asked you to donate all your money to save a homeless person you'd never met, would you do it? Harry shook his head helplessly. If it weren't for his parents' inheritance, he might not even be able to take care of himself. Donate? No way. Exactly. It's easy to be generous with other people's money, but if you put yourself in my shoes, I bet you'd refuse faster than I did. But it's a unicorn, Ron muttered. Huh? Who was that? Aaron said sarcastically. Are unicorns better than everyone else? That's ridiculous. Draco instantly understood and snickered. Who else could it be but Weasley, the simpleton? Malfoy, you. What? Upset. The value of this potion is more than any of us can imagine. We couldn't afford it if we sold your whole family. Unicorns are precious, but there are things that are even more valuable. You don't get to decide, on Aaron's behalf, who's more worthy of being saved. Chapter 68. Our ancestors still have such glorious deeds. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron considered the resurrection potion his own private property, period. Nobody had the right to ask him to hand it over. Hagrid gazed at the unicorn lying on the ground, reluctantly wiped away tears, and mumbled, sorry. Hagrid. Ronan asked, concerned, you okay? Yeah. You take it from here. Hagrid waved a hand and trudged weakly out of the Forbidden Forest. The others exchanged glances, then followed. Hold on a sec, little wizard. Ronan called to Aaron, glancing a bit awkwardly at the pet beside him. Mind if I take a look at your pet? Ha. Nope. Abe's my personal property. Someone nabbed him yesterday. Who? The centaur. Ronan rarely got angry. Who would dare kidnap a sacred creature like this? It's as bad as slaughtering unicorns. Ron's heart skipped a beat. We're not cursed, are we? Probably not. Harry said, sounding unsure. They'd been in agony all night and barely dared to show their faces. Sure, Professor McGonagall docking them a ton of points probably didn't help, but when you've got a guilty conscience, it's easy to imagine a curse. Hermione gulped. Tonight's adventure had her convinced she had to be cursed. There was no other explanation for her terrible luck and near-death experience. Humph. Malfoy smirked. If I'd known this, I wouldn't have gone along with it. You guys? Ronan seemed to get it. Probably just kids pulling a prank, but he still gave them a stern look. It's not a curse, but you'd better not do it again. Otherwise, you'll be punished. Ronan simply delivered the threat, but the three of them looked at the dopey, cute Abe in silent agreement. They'd be nicer to this magical animal in the future, and try to get rid of this curse ASAP. What are you waiting for? Let's go, Hagrid urged. Coming. Wait, wizard. Just as Aaron was about to leave, Ronan spoke up again. Can you tell me your name? Sure. Aaron Gaius. Gaius? You're from the Gaius family. Ronan seemed surprised. What generation? I honestly don't know. Aaron scratched his head, embarrassed. He'd seen the Gaius family tree once, but it wasn't like other family trees. It was just a bunch of mind maps that made you want to fall asleep. He'd spotted his name on the last page and hadn't bothered to look closer. Who wants to spend their time studying the names of ancestors for nothing? Even if you're bored, there are better things to do than stare at a genealogy chart. Wait, you know my family? Aaron asked, curious. How? Surprised? Ronan gave a faint smile. Many centaurs know about the Gaius family. Long ago, during a war, one of your ancestors fought alongside the centaurs. He was one of the few humans who ever rode on a centaur's back. Aaron, damn. Our ancestors actually did something cool. Ronan eyed Aaron, who looked a little stunned. You didn't know this? Ahem. I'm 12 years old. How would I know all that stuff? Ronan seemed to understand. You wouldn't. Keeping a low profile is practically a family tradition for you guys. Anyway, Gaius, protect that little guy in your arms. Its potential is greater than you think. It'll be your right-hand man someday. Aaron nodded. Duh. He knew what kind of dragon cub he had. After they left the Forbidden Forest, Aaron warned everyone not to tell anyone about the resurrection potion, or there would be serious consequences. The others nodded in agreement, but Hagrid's eyes darted around a little. Aaron didn't care. He just figured Hagrid was still beating himself up for not saving the unicorn. Gryffindor common room. Harry didn't go straight to bed. He called Ron and Hermione over to the fireplace to tell them his theory. The figure in the Forbidden Forest has to be Voldemort. Ronan told me. He's using unicorn blood to stay alive. Don't say the name, Ron whispered, as if the Dark Lord might hear them. You mean he who must not be named is in the Forbidden Forest? Hermione couldn't help but feel like she dodged a bullet. She had survived an encounter with Voldemort. Yeah. Hermione, you were right up close to him. What's his condition? It's hard to explain. The guy in the black robe gave off this intense feeling of dread, like he was a monster. My legs were shaking. If Aaron hadn't saved me, you guys might not have seen me again. Hermione shuddered as she remembered the black-robed figure sucking unicorn blood. She instinctively pulled the pillow on her lap closer, but then she thought of something else, and a happy smile crept across her face. Turns out fairy tales aren't all made up. Hermione. Hermione. Harry waved his hand in front of her face, thinking she was still scared. It's nothing. Hermione snapped back to reality, her smile vanishing. He who must not be named must be in really bad shape, really weak, or he wouldn't need to drink unicorn blood to survive. But he's still powerful. I bet he's as strong as the professors here. Harry couldn't deny it. I guess Voldemort. Could you please stop saying that name? Ron repeated. He's at Hogwarts. Okay. Harry said, rolling his eyes, fine, you know who. I don't get why everyone's so afraid of a name. Not everyone survived a direct encounter like you. The shadow of you-know-who hung over the entire wizarding world before his disappearance. Almost no one dared to defy him. Yeah, but Aaron did, Hermione said with a smile. He hit the guy in the black robe with 2 spells today, and the screams hurt me. Ha! Not everyone's got a potion that can bring people back to life. With that thing, who's afraid of death? Ron, Hermione said sharply, not everyone has the guts to face you-know-who. Let's not argue about this. The Dark Lord's goal has to be the Philosopher's Stone. We were wrong. Snape wasn't trying to steal the Philosopher's Stone to get rich. It wasn't about him at all. He wants the elixir of life to restore Voldemort's strength and bring him back. Harry, if he who must not be named comes back, will he try to kill you? Ron asked worriedly. Who knows? Harry slumped back on the sofa, not saying anything, but they all knew that if Voldemort returned, Harry would be the first target for revenge, and his life would be in danger. Harry, things might not be so bad, Hermione said, trying to reassure him. Don't forget, we've got a powerful wizard here at Hogwarts. Dumbledore, our headmaster. Even you-know-who at the height of his power didn't dare to go head-to-head with him. As long as Dumbledore's around, he won't dare to make a move, and you'll be safe. Hearing this, Harry felt a little of the gloom lift, and he relaxed a bit. The next day, in the potions classroom, the Gryffindor and Slytherin students were carefully brewing a hair-raising potion, designed to restore hair volume for about a week. Of course, the effect was temporary, and their hair would eventually return to its original state. Maybe it was his imagination, but Aaron felt like Snape was giving him weird looks. He could see a mix of emotions in those glances: excitement, anxiety, unease, and embarrassment. Anyone would think Snape was about to ask him for money. About half an hour later, Aaron finished mixing his potion. He glanced at Snape, and was shocked to see a hint of flattery in his eyes. It gave him the creeps when a dignified, grim professor suddenly acts like this. It's really unnerving. Was he going to ask him to rejoin the Quidditch team? No way. He'd rather take a bath and get some sleep than spend his time practicing. After class, Aaron picked up Abe and headed for the door, but Snape stopped him. Gaius, come to my office this afternoon. Can you tell me why? We agreed that I'd play Quidditch just that once. And I made that promise to the whole team. I'm not going back on my word. Snape's face darkened. Ever since the team lost Aaron as Seeker, its strength had plummeted. After a few games, Gryffindor was dominating. Snape had regretted it then, but he'd promised Aaron that he'd only play one game, and he couldn't let him rejoin to restore Slytherin's prestige. He could only watch Harry Potter hog the spotlight, but thinking about what he had to do next, Snape forced a tight smile and said, I want to talk to you about something else, nothing to do with the team. So, don't get the wrong idea. And do come. Chapter 69 No Experience in Being Courteous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After class, Aaron approached Snape's office, a knot of anxiety tightening in his gut. He hesitated at the familiar door, suddenly feeling like a stranger. Normally, he'd waltz right in, but today Snape was acting completely off, like a different person. Aaron knew he had to tread carefully. He knocked after a moment. Come in. Snape's unusually eager voice called from inside. Aaron entered, closed the door, and eyed Snape cautiously. Professor, what did you want to see me about? Sit down, sit down. Snape ushered Aaron toward a chair and, surprisingly, poured him a drink. Here, some butterbeer. It's all the rage with young wizards. You'll love it. Aaron swallowed hard, staring at the pale yellow drink. He plastered on an awkward, polite smile, but made no move to drink it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. He'd bet Abe's food for a month that Snape was up to something. Snape was never this nice. Who knew what kind of potion Snape had slipped into the drink? Aaron was still in the early stages of his, everything. He couldn't afford to take any risks. Professor, Aaron began, my mom's warned me 1,000,000 times that kids can't drink alcohol, no matter how weak it is. I can't disobey her. She'd be bummed out. So, I'll pass on the drink. Snape looked momentarily stunned, then pulled out a box filled with assorted snacks. That's it. Aaron thought, smirking inwardly. He wasn't sure what Snape was after, but he wasn't impressed. What student would fall for this? Just as Aaron was about to dismiss the whole thing, Abe stirred in his arms, eyes glued to the snack box, utterly captivated. Ahem. Aaron cleared his throat, placing a hand on Abe's head. Could you maybe show some restraint? Try not to drool on me, okay? Professor, what's the deal? Aaron asked. Don't wizards your age enjoy these? Snape replied. Maybe wizards from ordinary families. I've never wanted for snacks. Honestly, money's way more appealing to me than this stuff. Understanding dawned on Snape's face. He rummaged under his desk and pulled out a large box overflowing with gold galleons. Aaron's eyes flickered at the sight of the money, but he remained unfazed. His lips twitched. Was Snape serious? You could insult a Weasley with money, they'd beg for more insults. But he was Gaius, and his family had never wanted for money. Snape's move was downright insulting. Who did he think he was dealing with? Still, Aaron felt sure Snape didn't have some grand conspiracy brewing. Otherwise, he wouldn't resort to such cheap tricks. But if someone's offering something for nothing, they're probably selling something. Snape definitely had an agenda. This is all the cash I have on hand. Everything else is in Gringotts. Seeing Aaron's indifference, Snape hastily disclosed his financial status. I'm a potions master, after all. I might not care much about money, but I've saved up a decent sum over the years. I promise you won't be disappointed, easily dozens of times what's in this box. Whoa, hold up. Aaron waved his hand, giving Snape a knowing look. Professor, why don't you just tell me what you want? Otherwise, I'm going to keep feeling a little confused. Besides, it seems like you've never tried to bribe anyone before. You're terrible at it. It can't even do what they like. This whole upright act is honestly making me, a student, feel ashamed." Snape was silent for a moment, then reluctantly said, "I heard Hagrid mention you have a potion that can bring people back from the dead." "Aaron, son of a, Hagrid, did I desecrate your family's ancient burial ground? Why are you always dragging me into this?" "Professor Snape," Aaron said gravely, "who else knows about this besides you? Do you really have a potion that can bring people back to life?" Snape asked, rising to his feet, his eyes shining with fervor. "Hold your horses, Professor. It's not as useful as you might think," Aaron cautioned. "Not useful? How can you say that?" "Aaron, give me that potion. I'll pay any price to get it from you." "Huh. It sounds like someone very important to you isn't around anymore, Professor." Snape remained silent, but gave a slight nod. "Then this potion's no good to you. It can only bring back people who died within the past hour," Aaron said with regret. "Are you serious?" "Positive. Except for emergencies, who carries something that precious around?" The light in Snape's eyes dimmed. He sank back into his chair, looking as if someone had doused him with ice water. After a long silence, he extended his right hand. "Let me see the potion." "Just for a moment." "I don't know about that." Aaron scoffed. "It's a family heirloom. What if you run off with it?" "Don't worry. I still have my integrity as a teacher. I wouldn't steal from a student. Besides, if the potion's really what you say it is, it's incredibly valuable but ultimately useless to me. Who knows?" Aaron shrugged, but didn't produce the potion. The resurrection potion was like his second life. Who would hand that over so easily? Even the night before, he had only held the bottle in his hand, ready to whisk it into the system at a moment's notice. No one could snatch it, but Snape was a different story. What if he suddenly abandoned his integrity? Compared to a potion that could resurrect anyone, integrity was meaningless, especially considering Snape was a potion's master. How could he resist? Snape seemed to sense Aaron's hesitation. "You're awfully suspicious for someone so young, Aaron Gaius. It must be exhausting." "Hey. Not really." Aaron said sheepishly, "Compared to what you were doing earlier, Professor, this is just standard procedure." "Fine. It's up to you whether you show it to me or not. But I should remind you that I'm not the only one who knows about this." Aaron's heart jumped. He lost his composure. "How many people know?" Snape smiled slyly. "Now you're worried," he thought. Aaron gritted his teeth. "Fine, I'll show it to you." "A wise decision," Snape said smugly. "I'll take a look, and give it back immediately. I also promise the news won't spread. It better not. Otherwise." Aaron glanced at Abe helplessly. "Otherwise, I'll have to feed it to the pets." "Are you crazy? You can't just waste it like that." Snape exclaimed, then seemed to understand. He nodded slowly. "If everyone really knew, that might be the best course of action. Otherwise, you'd become a target. You'd have endless problems. That's what I'm worried about. A common man is not guilty, but he is guilty of having a treasure in his possession. But I have a second method, which is to keep the potion locked in the treasure house at home. The magic world would not offend a powerful family for a bottle of potion, because that thing may seem rare, but in fact it is of no use to most people." Aaron said, taking out the emerald green bottle and placing it carefully on Snape's desk. Snape picked up the potion and opened the bottle cap, and a majestic breath of life suddenly spurted out, making him feel relaxed and happy, as if he was lying on the lawn basking in the sun. But as soon as the bottle cap was closed, that feeling disappeared instantly. Snape shook his head regretfully. "You did not lie to me. This thing contains extremely powerful vitality and can take back the recently dead life from the god of death. However, it is useless for people who have been dead for a long time. No matter how powerful the life force is, it cannot revive them. At most, it can make their corpses incorruptible. That's right. Aaron nodded and put the bottle away again, but these alone can be called priceless treasures. And according to my research, this bottle of potion can not only be used as a single resurrection potion, people who are troubled by diseases can use it to cure diseases or extend their lives. People who are free from disasters and diseases can use it to extend their lifespan. More importantly, people who are seriously injured or even on the verge of death can use it to return to their prime. Unfortunately, there was exactly one person at Hogwarts who needed this thing. As Aaron finished his last words, Snape's pupils opened slightly. What do you know? What do I know? Aaron asked, pretending to be suspicious. Didn't Hagrid tell you that some people suck the blood of unicorns in the Forbidden Forest to stay alive? It's not what I said. The security of Hogwarts is really bad, and it's possible for such a monster to be allowed in. Chapter 70. The Old Immortal Has a Dirty Heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aaron could practically feel Snape's sigh of relief, which only confirmed his suspicion that Voldemort might be lurking somewhere in Hogwarts, scheming to get his hands on the Philosopher's Stone. He was also convinced that Snape wouldn't be in league with Voldemort. Otherwise, who would be around to make the resurrection potion? A Dark Lord in his prime could easily spirit Snape away from Hogwarts. Professor, can you tell me who else knows about this? Snape took a deep breath and gave Aaron a wry smile. Relax, not many people are in the loop. Just the two from last night. Okay, shouldn't be too hard to handle. Aaron felt a wave of relief. As long as the other insider wasn't Professor Quirrell, he still had a chance. It couldn't be Quirrell anyway. Voldemort had used Quirrell's body to absorb 2 spells last night. Even if he didn't care about the injury, he still had to take care of the lingering Voldemort. He'd probably stick to his office as much as possible, only emerging to teach classes. The other person isn't as reasonable as me, Snape said with a knowing look, pouring cold water all over Aaron's heart. You'll need to come with me to the headmaster's office. He's waiting for you. The headmaster? Albus Dumbledore? Aaron asked, surprised. He knows too. What do you think? You know Hagrid. I may not be his biggest fan, but there's a reason he's been at Hogwarts all these years. He's loyal to Dumbledore to a fault. He has practically no secrets from him. He ran to the headmaster's office as soon as he came out of the Forbidden Forest last night. Fantastic. Aaron's face fell. Nobody at Hogwarts is trickier to deal with than Dumbledore. This is gonna be a problem. You seem to know him pretty well. Snape asked curiously. What's your history with him? Don't get me wrong, Professor. I don't really know the headmaster. Everything I know about Dumbledore comes from books. My ancestors did leave behind a manual. One of its points, the longer someone lives, the more experience they accumulate, making it harder to know their true intentions. Snape raised his eyebrows. That's a fair point. Exactly. We call those people the immortals. You're better off meeting the obscure ones. They tend to be reclusive and just want to live quietly. But when you run into famous, high-ranking old-timers, you gotta be extra careful. They're crafty old codgers who might betray you before you even know it. The hearts of old men are just, grimy. Snape clapped his hands together. Spot on. If I'd known that before, I wouldn't have. Well, it's a long story. Aaron, I'd really like to see your family's book of secrets, if you'd let me. No way, forget it. Aaron said immediately. That Thieves Are Thick and Thieves Are Thick book was the ancestral teaching passed down through his family for thousands of years, constantly revised and improved. It didn't have magic powers and didn't record any valuable spells. It was just a plain old book, but it wasn't something to be read by just anyone. Alright, my bad. Snape said, opening the door. Come on. Professor, can I skip this? Sure, I'd be happy to be free too. But if Dumbledore gets tired of waiting, he might come looking for you himself. Okay, I guess I'll go. The two made their way to the 8th floor of the castle. Aaron followed Snape to a gargoyle. Lemon tea. Snape said the password, and the gargoyle hopped aside. The wall behind it split open, revealing a spiral staircase slowly moving upward. They reached a door at the top of the stairs. Snape opened it and went inside. Headmaster, I've brought the person you're looking for. Thank you, Dumbledore said, his back to them as he organized books on a shelf. Aaron Gaius, you're the first student to visit my office this semester. I'm flattered, Aaron replied with a smile. He looked around the circular room and had to admit it was much nicer than Snape's dungeon. It was more spacious, brighter, and free of the overpowering smell of potions. Various silver instruments were displayed on the shelves, and portraits of past headmasters lined the walls, their voices and smiles hinting at their former lives. Even if they were just a bunch of dead old guys, the fact that the current white wizard kept them there showed their worth in their time. A gilded perch sat on the desk, and a strange bird covered in red feathers perched on it, watching Abe with sharp eyes. As if it had found something interesting, Abe also glanced at the strange bird with curiosity and then wiped the corners of his mouth. He also noticed the Sorting Hat napping on the shelf and a giant smiling and waving at him. Giant? Huge, crap. Hagrid. Aaron glared at Hagrid, already pulling out his black wand. Hagrid shivered and shuffled toward Dumbledore, afraid Aaron wouldn't be able to stop himself from casting a spell. He knew what he did was wrong, but something big had happened in the Forbidden Forest, and for the safety of Hogwarts, he had to tell Dumbledore. And someone as detail-oriented as him couldn't leave anything out. What are you hiding from? I'm not going to hit you. That's what you say, Hagrid said sheepishly. You should know. Aaron sneered. After what you did, you deserve a good beating. If you weren't bigger than me. Sorry, I've heard that word enough recently. Hagrid, I just want to ask you, why are you always picking on me? Well, this is just a misunderstanding. I didn't mean it. You think I'll buy that? Alright, Dumbledore said, walking down the stairs. Intentional or not doesn't really matter. Aaron, you're a smart kid. You understand. I get it, Aaron said, glaring at Hagrid. What's done is done. No point in dwelling on it. Thanks. Don't thank me yet, Hagrid. Watch what you say and think before you speak. I understand. Aaron shook his head, knowing Hagrid's promises weren't worth much. Please, have a seat, Mr. Gaius, Dumbledore said, sitting at his desk and giving Aaron a smile. Aaron didn't hesitate. He picked up Abe from the ground and sat in a chair. Professor, what can I do for you? Professor Snape didn't tell you? Dumbledore asked, a twinkle in his eye. I thought you knew. What he says and what you say are two different things. Fair enough. Hagrid told me some of what happened last night. The unicorn attack, the guy in black robes, and something about a very special potion. Dumbledore paused. Aaron, would you mind showing me that potion? I'm very sorry, but I can't do that, Aaron replied. Headmaster, I've seen it, Snape said solemnly. It's unbelievably powerful. It can instantly restore someone near death to perfect health and even resurrect those who have recently died. But it can't do anything for someone who has been dead a long time. Dumbledore's eyes narrowed, but he quickly regained his composure and smiled. Still, that's quite impressive. Professor Dumbledore, I'm afraid I can't tell you anything more about my potion. The bottle has already been opened twice since yesterday, and some of it has evaporated. Don't misunderstand me, that's not what I meant, Dumbledore said with a smile. What I'm trying to say is, would you consider leaving that potion with me for safekeeping? What? Aaron was taken aback. What was going on? Most people would just take a quick look, but why was Dumbledore pushing so hard? You may be the White Wizard, but you don't get to bully people. Professor, I think I misheard you, Aaron said, frowning. Did you ask me to give you the resurrection potion for safekeeping? You heard correctly. Dumbledore found it difficult to ask this of someone so much younger than him, but for his own plan, he would shamelessly make that request. "Give me a reason, or some kind of incentive," Aaron said calmly. "Even if you are the headmaster, you can't force students to hand over their property." The others in the office looked at each other, surprised that Aaron was standing up to the headmaster. "Aaron, you saw what happened last night. Someone in black robes is hiding in Hogwarts. He's dangerous and needs to replenish his strength, so, this is also for your own safety. I guarantee that the original item will be returned after the holidays.